Welcome to Stu and the Nunn, an online radio show and podcast focused on national security, policy, politics, and selfless service. We're here to give you an honest opinion, a different perspective, and hopefully a few laughs. We do this by not only interviewing guests, but also sharing our own perspectives and asking you, the listener, to interact with us on the show chat room, via our Facebook page, and on Twitter. We would like to thank those who make this show possible and allow us to bring it to you. Our show sponsors: Warrior Media Solutions, BlueHammer.com, Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation, Graybeard Publishing, and of course, Sheepdog Response. We would also like to recognize some of our favorite nonprofit charities who are doing great things for those who have served this country of ours. Veterans Outdoors, Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation, PinUpsForVets.com, and the Lauren F. Bruner USS Arizona Memorial Foundation. To learn more about these nonprofits and how you can donate to their awesome causes, visit our website at www.stewandthenunn.com. All right, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stu and the Nunn here on November 21. November 21st, here we go. And we are here. You can see Stu here and joined by my coughing brother. Hope he's not getting sick. Got your flu shot there, Toby?
I got some shot.
You got some shot. There you go.
I got the Canadian shot right now.
Oh, I see that. Hopefully you drinking the Crown? Because this is brown. Going down, just like a deer. Just like a deer.
You're a poet and didn't know it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, well, welcome everyone. As you can see, it's Toby and I tonight. We had a little coordination thing. We had a great guest lined up. We're going to get him back on. We had some misalignment in time zones and times, and we'll get him back. But anyways, thank you for being here, joining us, Toby. Good to see you, my friend. And
it's good to be seen, man. It's good to be seen. I apologize. I'm trying to navigate this social media wizardry here. Trying to go in between these chat rooms and figure out which one I'm supposed to be in, which one I'm not.
We got chats going on. We got people joining.
I'm good, man. It's good to be back. I'm coming down with a little something. I apologize if I sound a little nasally or I'm sneezing or whatever it is, but I must have played hockey too hard last night. And that's where I'm at. So it's all good.
Yeah, so you're down in the southern studio. I'm up in the northern studio where we were balmy 50 degrees a little while ago. And a little toasty up there. But can you hear me okay? You cannot? What'd you change? I can hear you. I got you good. I got you 5x5. Maybe someone, our listeners, can tell us how can we sound okay? Toby, I haven't changed anything. You don't hear me at all. Can our listeners, some of our viewers, just put in the chat they can hear me okay, and if they can hear Toby okay when he was talking? I didn't silent him. I wouldn't do that. But what do we got going on? I don't see anyone commenting yet, but I see us putting out a feed. Let me see. Sound is great. Toby, can you go ahead and let me see. Let me go and tell you. Go open something. All right. They can't. Yeah, go ahead and say something, Toby. See if they can hear you. I'm assuming. All right. Toby's just reading. Okay. I don't know what changed. Me and Toby have been talking for about 20, 30 minutes already before the show. So I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear me now, Toby? Because I hear a change in volume on your side. I don't know what tweaked on that side. Can you hear me now? Huh? Nope. All right. Hold on. Let me try to get Toby on text here. Um, all right. Well, with that going on, we'll try to figure this out on the fly. Toby, don't get too frustrated. It's weird how we just talked for like 30 minutes, and now all of a sudden we can't. All
Can
right.
you
Nope.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear anything.
Okay.
I have
Uh,
no sound.
all right. We need a Sigo. Uh, all right. I don't know what happened. Literally, we were just talking. So, anyways, Toby, keep working it. Let me tell him that. And I will talk. Okay. Well, so we are joined here again, November 21st. Next week is Thanksgiving. Artie, I am, kicking up here, like say, 50 degrees in the northern studio. It's warmed up quite a bit. It was pretty cold over the weekend. I was out deer hunting. Anyone that is a personal friend of mine knows that because I was throwing up more than enough pictures on the Facebook. Had a great time deer hunting a few different places around the state of New York, and did that. So, but glad not out there now. It's a little warm at 50 degrees to be out there trying to kill deer, but. Yeah, so they can. They are saying. So, anyways, up here, Toby was out of the country doing some stuff with VO, all that good things. Next week, obviously, is Thanksgiving. We will not be having a show next week on Thursday. It is, if we don't do it for Halloween, we're surely not going to do it for Thanksgiving. But the so we won't be back. We'll be back on December 5th, just so you guys know. We're trying to get this guest rescheduled that we had for tonight. Hopefully that. We've got a couple dates in December. We're definitely going to, like say, be out on the Thanksgiving and I think around Christmas week. But until then, we'll have guests lined up. If we'd had more notice tonight, we'd have had a backup guest in the queue. But we weren't able to get one lined up quick enough. Can you hear me, Toby? Still nothing? All right, he just keeps working it. All right, so obviously it has been you don't have to look far in the news to see that there's all kind of stuff happening, and that things are not slowing down one bit. I want to hit on a couple. We want to hit on a couple topics. Toby has some topics he wants to hit on. Obviously, once he gets reconnected, we'll definitely do that. But okay, well now we see me. Let me move that, and I'll just keep that. We'll just keep his spot grayed out until I get him connected back, which I'm assuming he will want me to call him back here in a second. Hold on a second. This is what happens when you don't have your producer in the studio next to you. We work off of. Oh, here he comes. He's calling me back, and there we go. Let me see if I can get him back in here. Okay.
Hey,
Hey,
how you doing?
good. Can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay, well that helps.
Yeah.
Let me get your video line back. I'll let you talk a little bit. I was kind of trying to fill time while I get your
Well, I hope you
video
did a good
set back
job. I
up.
didn't hear any of it, so I imagine everything I'm going to talk about is going to be going over everything that you just talked about.
Oh, it's all news.
But at least it's
No, I
coming with
didn't
my
really.
melodic
I didn't
music.
talk about
Yes.
anything really, to be honest.
Well, I have the opportunity, and it sounds like people can hear me. Hopefully, I want to take a few moments to identify a wonderful American that passed away this past week. Fabian Tovar. Um, uh, Fabian was a soldier with the Charlie Company, first of the 23 Infantry, the Tomahawks. He was a member of Comanche Company, and most importantly, he was a member of the Mule Spearing Platoon. Fabian was a gentle, kind soul. He did everything that was asked of him. He didn't complain. He didn't, he wasn't one of those super soldiers, and he wasn't a troublemaker. He was one of those guys that just did what he was supposed to do, never questioned it, just always, you know, always performed. Um, and he was just an all-around, like, didn't cause problems, for himself, didn't cause problems for the leadership. He was just a really good guy. Unfortunately, he suffered a severe stroke last week, and it kind of, took his body away. They tried keeping him on life support, but his body wasn't able to sustain itself. And like John said, the guy was always smiling. He was always good to go. And so his service is coming up on Sunday and Monday down in Harlingen, Texas. And myself and some other cats are gonna do what we can to get down there and do that and be around his family, support them in this time. It just sucks, like you know, seeing guys come and go. It just sucks. And he was one of the good ones. And when I say he was one of the good ones, I mean because he wasn't one of the bad ones.
Right.
He was just, like I said, you have soldiers that make an impression on you because they're exceptional. You have soldiers that make an impression on you because they're shitbags. And then you have soldiers that fill that gap. And, that's the rank and file. That's what makes every unit great. It's not the exceptional soldiers that make units great. It's the soldiers that are the tying fabric, the twine that holds, the unit cohesion together and fill those gaps between exceptional and shitbaggery. And I just, I'm sad that we lost him. He was a good guy. So I wanted to take the opportunity to do that. Hopefully we got the video and everything back going.
Yeah, we got your video up and see your Gino Lease poster behind you or your calendar behind you. So that's good.
Oh, I always rock it. It's probably out of date.
Yeah. Mine, you got to be on November. Should be a whole team of girls on there. There we go.
That shows how much I've been traveling. I've been out of my office. I haven't noticed that I'm like 2 months behind.
Yeah.
On morale. My office morale boosters got me 2 months behind.
Well, it is definitely a morale booster. Yeah. That's it is a shame. I mean, it goes to tell you or it goes to show you, right? It doesn't matter. None of us have a best by date stamped on our foot and on our butt, and we go when the Lord calls us home. It's unfortunate and super sad when people don't let the Lord make that decision. They do it on their own, but sometimes that things happen the way they happen, right? So it's luckily he's got good friends and friends that are like family, and like I said, guys coming in this weekend, people coming in this weekend to remember and keep that spirit alive through memory is key. That's something I just experienced with just yesterday.
Yeah.
It was, one of my soldiers, one I wear the bracelet for all the time. Dave Rustum lost on November 20th, 2004 in Iraq. And he was the first soldier I lost in that war. There was more that followed, unfortunately, but and in Afghanistan. But one of my soldiers reported to me, and we get together, me and the guys. So, I was their first sergeant, and just about all of them are out. A couple are still in, but we get together once a year. We see each other all through times. We'll run into each other at hockey games or run into someone at the store, or and some guys just are close and they get together once in a while and do things, and I still do that with some folks. But collectively as a group, it's our one time that most of the company gets back. That's in the area comes back together, and we go to the VFW that I'm a life member at. We go there. We sit around, we got someone orders pizza and wings, and we just talk, and we talk about Dave some, but it really turns into more of just a once a year reunion, if only for a couple hours. Because we're all busy with life. These guys were young E3s and E4s that are now E6s and E7s, or they're out. They've got kids, and kids are going. Kids are getting in elementary school and that kind of stuff, and we're talking about that. And they're busy with dance and football and hockey, and it's transition, and we just look back and think it's been 15 years since that terrible day, and if anything else, Dave's legacy is it's still as sad as it is that and what a horrific thing it was to lose him. The ongoing legacy is it brings us all back together, something none of us could have ever predicted.
A couple things I want to unpack there just quickly is for a lot of times I'll have a conversation with somebody, especially someone that I haven't seen in years, about our shared experiences together. And when we have that conversation, it feels like it was yesterday. Like it's almost like we just did it and we're in the AER room, working it out. And that's a fairly unique relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Two, seeing those guys that I remember and you remember as privates and specialists and corporals and sergeants that many have surpassed me in service. And, like, I got to tell you, like, talking to my guys that are, I'm going to bring up, one high speed guy, uh, Hepfer. When I got this guy, he was this hard charging. I mean, when I say hard charging, I mean like brick wall, Kool-Aid, hard charging E5, and now he's the he's the operations sergeant major of our battalion.
Mm.
And you see these guys and they grow, and then having that annual thing, that moment to bring it back, what you guys do for is so crucial. And one of the most inspiring things I ever saw was the Korean government gave a rock to our regiment, the 23rd Infantry Regiment, for the Battle of Chipnyong-yi, which happens in February 20th. And the survivors of that battle come to that rock every year. And, we're 60 years plus, 70 years almost,
right,
to when that event happened. And these gentlemen, these fine, fine gentlemen, come back to that. And I think it's so crucial. I think it's crucial for our emotional growth. I think it's crucial for our emotional stability, to continue to have, nurture, and maintain those relationships. Regardless of where you're at now, career-wise or life-wise, you will always be the guys in that moment.
Yep.
And when I say the guys in that moment, I don't mean the roles. You'll be the humans in that moment. No one calls me Sergeant Nunn anymore, which is good because that guy was kind of a dick. But it's awesome, and I love how you and your guys do that. I love how it's a unit effort. And when I say it's a unit effort, I mean it's not the people running the unit that put that together. It's the guys that were in the unit at that time maintaining that.
Yeah.
And that's a good tradition. There's some weird traditions like, planting Skittles into like a weird bowl the night before Christmas that turn into candy canes.
Is that a Canadian thing? I've never heard of that.
I don't know what it is, but apparently it's a tradition.
Okay.
That I've fallen victim to.
Oh.
But the I probably like let a secret out right there. My bad. But
I hear I hear Santa Claus likes venison jerky as rather than cookies. I'm just saying.
No, it's higher in protein
and
it's
a little
higher in protein and helps them through the night.
And a little bit of brown water.
Up.
Yeah, a little bit of brown water, just like that. Yeah.
I take care of my man. I'm like, it's cold up there in that sled, and you need protein, son. Like think about how much muscle is used. Anyway, we're going down a long rabbit hole, but.
We'll save that for the Christmas episode.
Maintain those relationships. I think it's important to still do those things. We talked about, the value of the VFW and the Legion, these organizations, because back in the day, that's where guys and gals, got together to kind of commiserate or to reflect or commune and have fellowship.
Right.
With social media now, the need for that isn't as much. But I think there's no substitute for physical human contact.
Yeah. We talked about that. We talked about that last night. That one of my cats. We were chatting on the side, and he was like, his dad. He used to go to his dad's moose lodge when he was younger, and this kind of stuff. And they don't really have a attendance anymore. I was like, yeah. I said, those community groupings, whether they're Daughters of the American Revolution or the Moose Lodge or the Masons or the VFW or whatever. Places where people can, like you say, fellowship and get together. We do it online now, right? You text somebody, hey dude, how you doing? Whatever. You see him, maybe you FaceTime call him, or you call him on Skype, or we have all these other means which sadly lend to us being busy, and they just make it easier to stay in contact. You don't need to go somewhere to see Bob. I ain't seen Bob in a few weeks. Well, I know he's at the V. I'll go there and hang out. You don't need to do that. You can just drop him a message, text message, or hit him on FaceTime or Facebook or whatever, and find them. But like you said, that just doesn't. I talk to my mom all the time online. Guess what? She'd really rather still have me come visit her in person too. It's not just about talking. And sometimes you need a hug though. I mean, I walked in that place last night and it was funny. Everyone that walked in, Toby, we had a good presence last night. I mean, there was a lot of dudes there for being 15 years. And it sounded like a bad Cheers episode. Every time someone walked in, it was, hey, everyone started yelling and all that kind of stuff. And it could have been a guy that was an E3, or it could have been the guy that was the E8, or anyone in between, right? And it was just anyone that walked in, everyone hooting and hollered, and you had to do your rounds and come hug every single person. Everyone was hugging each other when we got there. Everyone hugged each other when we left. And, it was just, and then you made your rounds. I talked to a couple guys for a while, and I walk over, talked to a few others, and we just kind of all tried to get the most out of each other as we could. And, it was just something about that. How you doing? Hey, how's work going? That kind of stuff. It's no longer talking about, what happened in the past. We all know what happened in the past. There's no sense to rehash over that.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? It's like, how are things going in the future? Hey, how's that new job working out? How'd you get on with so-and-so? And you liking it? And how's your wife doing? And, man, the kid's got to be getting big. And that's what seems probably so small in the normal civilian world. And I want to make sure people listen and hear this because I think this is important. That those kind of busy talk or just, kind of, I don't know the right term to use, but just, interactions that most people consider minor and not really that important. Guess what? That person, guy or girl, there's some that aren't there to even do that with. And I think that's what people miss. That's why it's so important to walk around and hug every single. Because you know what? We were there last night. We come together for a guy that we can't hug anymore, and there's many others that we can't hug anymore. Some that we lost over there, some that we've lost since we got back. So if we take, it may seem like, oh, I'm just talking to someone just to talk to them and act nice and be amenable, but you're asking because especially Toby, as their first sergeant before, it's their first sergeant in the past. I could look at these guys and see them growing up. They now have kids and they have this and they have marriages or their second marriage or whatever. And they're on living their life. They're being productive. That's, they did what they needed to do.
No greater compliment than that either.
Right. And it's to be able to do that. How are you doing? And they're asking how my wife, they're asking about Hunter. They remember Hunter, this little tiny dude with a head full of curls. And I'm showing them pictures of him now almost 6'3", and they're just like, they can't believe it, and that kind of stuff. So it's all back and forth. But it's funny you mentioned the rank because about half of them still call me top or they still call me first round. They just always do. And I tell them, I'm like, dude, you didn't call me that, man. We're all out now. But some love calling me by my first name. They just get a kick out of that. And that's cool too. It's what we all are. But some still call me top and call me first round. Probably the majority of them do. And I'm like, I just answer to it. I've told them before they don't have to. They still do. I'm like, okay, I get it. That's just the way you are. But it's but others love calling me Troy, and I always call them by their first name anyways. But it's just funny how some adapt and change, and some just want to keep it that way and that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Well, speaking of military stuff, no shortage of military topics to talk about. So let's just jump into it.
Yeah.
We killed a bunch of time with me sucking at technical stuff apparently. But I want to talk about, because there's a couple of different layers here, and I'd really like to unpack this a little bit. So last week, the President of the United States pardoned 3 military individuals. So probably the highest profile case, garnering the most attention, as it should, because he was a Navy SEAL, so everyone knows that Navy SEALs deserve more attention, more airtime, more than anybody else. And this book is going to be better than any other.
No, the book's always going to be the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be the bestest book ever written, the bestest military book ever written. But on a serious note, Chief Gallagher, who was found innocent on several charges, guilty on some minor charges.
one minor charge.
Not only did he get pardoned, but he got his rank restored.
By the president himself,
Uh,
on order of the
in fact, I'm
president.
sorry, we keep calling him the president. We should probably call him the commander in chief.
Yes, in
Like,
this context, yes, probably the
okay,
right way.
kind of like the big of the boss.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a. If you want to talk about it bureaucratically, you want to talk about challenge coin trumping. See what I did there? Um, like, you're gonna have to deal with, you know, this guy who's where the buck stops. Said, I'm pardoning these three guys. So Chief Gallagher's case, I think it's, you know, got way too much attention. He wasn't the best leader. He wasn't a bad leader. He wasn't a great leader, and he made a lot of bad decisions. He made some decisions to impress some of his men and to kind of fit in with his men, and he had a weird culture of behavior within his men. I don't understand that NSW behavior. I come from a unit and a unit mentality that is very disciplined and not so cowboyish. I believe in good order and discipline, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've seen a lot of commentary complaining about how this pardoning is affecting morale and is, compromised or corrupted unit good order and discipline. And I really want to talk about this for several reasons. Two, one, Navy Special Warfare Chief Gallagher that we just talked about. He was pardoning, and they're going at him for everything that they can, and like, hey, we're gonna take his trident, we're gonna do this, like,
Right.
now you're just being petty, all right, and you're just being a tool. Then, but I want we have a Army officer, now Major Ghostland. I'm probably saying that wrong, so I apologize, sir. Who is really being persecuted because of the attention that he brought to his leadership failures. While he was left in a valley to die with a bunch of dudes from different forces, and he got after it, really got chastised by his chain of command because he called them out on being weak decision makers,
Right.
and and really called out a couple specific individuals for being afraid of the next echelon and asking permission for something that you should not have to ask permission for. And this is one of the things and one of the reasons why, and people can get pissed at me for saying this, but I don't care. One of the reasons why within the military rank and file, the current commander in chief is popular is because he's taken some of these handcuffs off where people are not afraid to do their jobs for fear of persecution for stupid things like waking up your boss to ask him if air support or air cover is possible because you have human life being pinned down and held in the valley, and they kind of could use it. Courage isn't just facing a guy with a gun or running across a field that rounds are detonating on. Courage is also getting your ass up from behind a desk that has a computer screen or screens and a video feed on it and going to your superior and saying, hey, sir or ma'am, I believe we need to do something here, and these guys need our help, and they are ours. And so, people corrupting that system, people condemning people for performing
Because they got their feelings hurt.
honorably,
Because they got their
beautiful, and
Because they got their feelings hurt. They got a little butt hurt, and they're gonna be the most unethical they
can. You hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're sidebarring. Sorry.
Huh?
Can I can't hear what you're saying.
You can't hear me?
No.
Oh, I can hear you.
All right. Well, I will keep going, and then we're gonna have to do this whole reboot thing again because apparently my computer has a time clock on it. Says that my voice will be awesome forever, but I won't hear your voice for only a short period of time. I need to put more quarters.
Yeah, you got to put more quarters in.
To
yes.
make it last longer before I can hear you. But the next case I want to talk about is Lieutenant Lawrence, And yeah, this does not sound like it's a great situation. It does not sound like a great case. But the Uniform Code of Military Justice is completely different than the regular criminal code of the United States. And the U.S. law code and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, they are so different. And so people like throwing the term, well, this guy was convicted of a war crime. But what they don't understand is what this guy was convicted of was a crime that no witnesses, no evidence was placed against him. No body,
Right.
no forensics, no science, no evidence. Period. What was put against him was testimony of people that were being told that if they couldn't go home, or they weren't going to get out of the military, or they were going to lose this, or they're going to lose that, unless they testified against this guy. He might be the biggest piece of crap there is on earth, but the bottom line is the Uniform Code of Military Justice is not a great system. It is a flawed system. There's currently a great man that I served with. His name's Hadley. He's a great ranger, Audie Murphy member. The reason I got in the Audie Murphy program is as a result of following this young man. He was a staff sergeant. I was an E4. And then this guy inspired the crap out of me. Convicted, serving life in Leavenworth. Not a shred of evidence, minus hearsay, against him. No body, no evidence, no even evidence that there is a missing body, no evidence that there's a missing person. Just the testimony of a soldier that was under CID investigation because he got caught smuggling a bunch of drugs back into theater. So instead of like serving his time and facing like the piper for his crimes, he concocted the story that no one has corroborated, no one said anything. And that's because the Uniform Code of Military Justice doesn't allow for, certain defenses and is different. In a regular court of law, that would never happen. If no evidence was presented, zero evidence that says there's even a body missing, like how can you be convicted of murder of someone that they can't even prove actually existed? There's no body, there's no name, there's none of that crap.
Right.
So I digress. You can keep talking because I'm about to terminate and bring myself back so I can hear your sweet melodic voice. So I'm going to put more quarters in the machine.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. So let me, and here he goes. He's calling me back. And I'm going to bring him back in. Let's see how this works. All right. Can you hear me now?
Hey, guy. How are you?
Can you hear me now?
I do, and it sounds delightful.
It's the reboot. You got to do the reboot every, I guess, 15 minutes. I don't know what's up with
quarters, man. I got these cheap Canadian quarters right now.
Oh, you can't be putting loonies in there, toonies and stuff.
I'm sorry. I'm putting the wrong quarter.
Yeah, that's the wrong kind. That's not really even a quarter. I got some of those too upstairs. Yeah. So I mean, he did so. To expand on that, so you kind of hit on all three guys. I mean, they've all got the pardon. Chief Eddie Gallagher's got his rank back, but it appears there's a 2-star in the Navy that it looks like, I guess, I don't know, what is that, a rear admiral or something, I'm not sure, that didn't like the president, the commander-in-chief, as the ultimate top commander in the chain of command, exercising his duly, appointed rights and abilities as the commander-in-chief to do what he wants. I wonder how this 2-star would feel if one of his, 06s, I don't know what the heck they call them, right? Captains or something, or an 05 in his command refuted his orders and didn't want to do what he wanted, because that's essentially this 2-star. So this 2-star is now making it go right after Eddie Gallagher and has started an action to look at removing his trident, right? The Navy SEAL trident, which is the coveted Navy SEAL badge, like saying that he has done something so wrong, even though he was pretty much cleared of everything except taking a picture with a dead body. That's the only thing he got convicted of. I can pretty much guarantee you any infantry grunt style soldier that has deployed to combat theater probably has pictures of dead bodies. Whether or not they were in them, I don't know, but I guarantee they probably all do. So that's what he got him on. So they're trying to remove his trident over that. And I guess what I saw a little while ago, Toby, was that the president stepped in again and probably issued a freaking cease and desist down the Navy, starting with the Secretary of the Navy saying, and then tweeted to like, no, he's not losing his trident, he's keeping it, and some bad decisions were made. I
Yeah,
would I would anticipate that 2-star will probably not see a 3rd star.
no, he's definitely seeing early retirement, um, and he'll go get himself a good job. But here's like the interesting part of
I
it.
bet it'll be a guest a guest on MSNBC and CNN, like
Yeah,
guest
he'll,
commentator.
he'll probably be a subject matter expert on something here
Yeah,
shortly. But no, I'm trying not to sneeze. The
no problem.
Here's like the funny thing about it. It's like there's a lot of things. You and I in our personal lives, we talk about this all the time, like together about you only get so many silver bullets in life. Like careful which ones you shoot, and you know this guy is like he's chambered this round, and he's like, and really he just despotted it, right? He like because it's a real thing, like he fires off this despot, thinking like he's gonna make a statement by, well, you can restore him to chief, but I'm gonna take his trident away. So the trident is just like uh, the special forces tab, just like a ranger tab.
Tab, yeah.
Right. So like you can take that away. You can strip that of a person. However, you can't strip them of the fact that they earned it.
Right.
And like I know, in fact, a great gentleman, a dear friend, a guy I respect and I enjoy hunting with and doing stuff with, was stripped of his special forces tab. His entire team were due to like a weird political action due to somebody else's malfeasance, something to do with the Secret Service down in South America. But they can't take away the fact that he graduated that course. They can't take away the fact that he graduated all these different schools and did all these different things and served in this capacity.
Right.
So yeah, like maybe you took the right away from him to have that on his uniform, but you did not take that away from him.
But he retires is not going to be on a uniform, so he doesn't.
Right. If he wants to wear a trident lapel pin for the rest of his life, because he earned it, has the certificate, has that, like, he can. He has that right.
He probably could even buy one on
like-
Amazon. I mean, just saying.
So like, it's really this weird thing. Like, you are going to ruin your career. And when I say ruin your career, not because of a political statement, because your lack of understanding of supporting your chain of command. You just proved to everybody that you think your opinion is more important than your boss's. And this is not a lawful order issue. This is not people's lives at stake. This is an administrative thing where you're like, well, I don't like that you were, didn't get in enough trouble, and I don't like that what little trouble you got in. This guy says that you're good for. I'm going to try and punish you myself. I'm going to try and take this into my own hands. Like, pick your battles. And you just made an egregious error because this is not the sword that you fall on.
Right.
Like, I don't know what, Chief Gallagher did to that, Rear Admiral or whatever he is. But it's not worth it.
Right.
Like, you are not inflicting any pain on him. You are just trying to present yourself in a way that you get attention to say, like, I'm the guy that said no, and this is all like, again,
which isn't much different than that.
Resistance.
Which is not any different than that E3 who says, "I told my squad leader to f off." Right? That's cool. While you're getting busted yet again, aren't you a badass? I mean, it's the same thing, right? I'm the one
digging that foxhole on extra duty.
Yeah, I'm the one that told the president I'm gonna do what I want, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you do that." He's commander in chief, but yeah, no,
and this is like, I want to bring this up specifically or I'm glad we brought this up because in the last administration, a lot of generals were forcibly retired,
yes,
prematurely retired. but not because they fought openly or criticized of some were. A famous one, with Crystal, giving a guy from Rolling Stone access that he probably shouldn't have given,
Right.
or Petraeus letting someone read over his shoulder. But there were a lot of officers. Ham, a fine gentleman and a stud of a soldier that I got the honor and pleasure to serve under. But that were pushed out in the last administration, but not because they disagreed with something petty. Because like when asked in front of Congress, uh, questions that, under oath that required a truthful answer, that's what they gave. Not hyperbole, not conjecture, not hearsay, not like opinion.
Right.
Did this happen? Yes. Did this not happen? No. Was so and so present? Yes. Did so and so make that call? No. And so when you see these general officers that got exited for being honorable, doing the right thing last administration, now this one, I guess like because it's Trump, there's this like, well, because it's Trump, you can act a fool.
Right.
Because it's Trump, you can violate your security clearance, and you can have conversations that violate your security clearance with people we don't even know if they actually have the clearance, other than that you're giving us your word, which your word isn't actually any good anymore because you violated it.
Right.
And I'm going to do it in uniform, and then I'm going to like be the biggest Delta Bravo in the history of Delta Bravos by making sure that you understand that I'm actually a lieutenant colonel. Like, I'm a fucking coffee stirrer, that's wearing cross rifles that, can't even get like the infantry blue on my shoulder boards because I haven't been in the infantry long enough, and I'm a known chow thief from Ranger School. Like,
not that you're saying that's anyone in particular that we know about.
just saying.
But yeah, as Rob said, he'll get a book deal and a job at CNN. It's funny. We had our good friend Jason on last week, and we kind of talked about this, right? We talked about this guy, and Jason's perspective was more of, the whole whistleblower thing, whether it's really a whistleblower and in the protections and that kind of stuff. But this isn't so much about him being a whistleblower as it is about it being that there's some partisanship to it, and one kind of being a douchebag telling a civilian congressman
So
what your
like
rank
this
is.
whole I don't think, and Jason kind of talked about this last episode, and if you're just tuning in now, or you've been you didn't catch last week's episode, we had Lieutenant Colonel retired Jason A. Marine, Special Forces Army guy, on who was an actual whistleblower, went through the entire whistleblower protocol in terms of hostages and stuff. But Vimmen is not a whistleblower, not even by definition.
Right.
Like, what he did is he complained that he didn't like the opinion of his boss. He there was no whistleblowing about like, well, this guy did something wrong. No, there was actually none of that. And he had to admit that in front of Congress, which is super awkward. Where and it doesn't matter what news channel you watched on, or whatever person that asked the question, the left side or the right side asked the question. The reality is like, he brought the subject up and injected himself in this conversation because of opinion of what he thought was a better plan.
Right.
And it's like, yo, dude, I don't know if you know this. No offense. How many battalion commanders are going to go to a division commander and be like, yo, Tom, I think your plan for the assault on this major city is flawed. I personally think that we should do this because I've got zero experience doing it. But I read this book this one time, and my dad's from this place, and these guys offered me this job. So I definitely think you should ignore all of your experience and try it my way.
Right.
I mean, when you think about it, it's as asinine as the fact that the NFL gave Colin Kaepernick a fucking tryout where they're like, I mean, how many places will, you know what I mean? Like, this whole thing is asinine.
Right.
And for him to stand there, sit there and, make it sound like he's a whistleblower, like, he's not.
Right.
There's zero,
So talking about the whistleblower, talking about the impeachment thing. They had another round. I think they're wrapping up today. May have been, or maybe tomorrow, the last day of hearings. I think today may have been it. I think I heard that Schiff gave his closing arguments today. So Congress is taking off for the next 10 days, and they'll be back. So the assumption is that they will pass this over um, to the Justice Committee, and they will bring to and draft together the articles of impeachment. Even though multiple times in these hearings, and I didn't watch them all because quite honestly it was draining to try to, and I didn't have time to watch it. It was great, you can catch the highlights at night. But I think in multiple occasions I heard Congress, usually Republicans, ask multiple witnesses of different days, what impeachable offenses did you see or hear? And it was crickets every single time. Multiple witnesses from different perspectives. Some were on the call, some heard about the call, and they were all asked what impeachable offenses. None of them could come up with an impeachable offense, which means if your witnesses, your star witnesses, can't say any, how can members of Congress come up with any? I mean, if they haven't identified any, then someone that wasn't there, wasn't involved, and is only investigating, has no way to put together anything that says there are violations that are in bringing around impeachable offenses. So, which just leads us to say it's going to be completely partisan. It's not based on fact. It's based on people's butts being hurt. And I mean, to be quite honest, it was what's his name? Not Schiff, but the other guy, the guy that's in charge of Justice Committee. And I'm sure Rob will pipe in a second. Nadler. Thank you, Nadler. That's it. Nadler, he already had it there. Nadler is overheard on a train right after the 2016 election that the Dems were going all in to get Trump impeached. Right after he was voted, right after November of 2016, 3 years ago, right around this time. So there's no doubt the House is going to vote to bring a trial of impeachment. There's also no doubt that the Senate is going to not let that go through because there's absolutely no reason. There's no charge, no cause. However, this does show and emphasize how important it is that you vote not always along party line, but you vote for who really is the best candidate you think is going to represent you the best. If the Dems owned the Senate, as in if they had full control of the Senate, the president would probably get impeached unless he got the Supreme Court involved. A truly nonpartisan kind of a group that would not go along partisan lines. Thank goodness there is some kind of checks and balances between both houses having a majority in the other party of the two parties that we pretty much have. Otherwise, it would be a slam dunk because these Congress people, these lawmakers, all they do is whatever their party tells them to do. There really is no bipartisan anymore. There's no splitting of the ranks. I mean, for the most part, there's none at all. They go along with whatever their majority leaders tell them to do. Oh, bless you. And that was the downside of when Obama was in, when both houses of Congress were also led by Democrats. That whole checks and balances of the three arms of government. Man, you're hitting your mic, and I don't know where it's at on that cable, but it is very it's causing a lot of static. But those three arms of government to keep each other in checks and balances as per the Constitution didn't happen when the executive branch and both the House and Senate were all ruled by one party because they just went along with whatever he wanted, and we lost those checks and balances. And that loss of that ability for one party to railroad, monopolize everything, and also not get anything really done, is what has caused the American people to be so upset of why they put President Trump in office and almost put Bernie Sanders in office, because they were so sick and tired of politicians just going with the flow and not looking out for and not representing the constituents the best way possible. So I've said it before. I probably said it on here. Say it again. The Democratic Party is really to blame of why President Trump's in office. 110%.
Yeah. So I got a couple of things here that I just want to share. And
real quick, just so you know, Toby, you may have saw it. I do have a special guest coming up.
I know. I saw something, and I don't know what it is. But
you don't know what it is.
I'll go really fast.
Okay, no, you'll know. You'll know when it gets.
All right. So, uh, number one, you are absolutely correct. This has nothing to do with anything legal. It has nothing to do with anything factual. This is just pomp and circumstance. This is dog and pony. This is how many news channels can we occupy with time? Because so we're watching these we're watching these congressional hearings, but this is the Intelligence Committee, right? So the Intelligence Committee is the committee that's trying to do this, and they're not letting people have interviews. Or not, you got Schiff over there not letting people ask questions. You got the Nunez reading things into the, this whole argument, reclaiming time, controlling time, and it's really like what the American people are seeing is just like how uh, second grade,
Right.
Or maybe it's fifth grade, but like how fifth grade like these proceedings are. But there's no like legal bearing. Like none of this is actually going to remove the guy from office.
Right.
Right? That Donald Trump is not Richard Nixon. Donald Trump is not going to bend to the pressure of politics. Richard Nixon was a career politician that tried many times to be president. When he finally got president, and this other stuff comes out, and yeah, he was probably doing some stuff he shouldn't have been doing, but he bent to that pressure. Donald Trump is like not that guy. Donald Trump knows that half of the country, at least half of the country, believe strongly in him,
Right.
and are grateful for the position that they're in. And he's that guy. He's like he's paid off porn stars. He's like
He's been on Comedy Central. He's been roasted.
Like,
he's been.
You think you're gonna pressure this dude into quitting?
Recorded on a
bro,
bus. Recorded on a bus
Yeah.
with a mic, open mic. Didn't know it. Yeah.
Not gonna happen. That's actually not how it works. Issue number 2, with all this stuff that's going on. My main man Cody Hurt.
Oh, Cody! All right,
Come on,
yeah.
get on in here.
Bring
Hey,
Cody
what's up,
in
my
there.
man?
Hey, how you doing? So Cody is
we got a guy coming on in like a few minutes.
No, Cody is that guy.
Oh yeah.
Cody is that guy. Cody is our special guest tonight.
Okay.
Cody Hurt from Mesquite Creek Outfitters. I don't know if I have my MCO hat.
Oh.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, bud?
What's up, man? How you doing? Look at that.
I'm
Look at that
good.
hat.
Good
I
to
like.
see ya.
I like that hat, man. That's sharp, dude. You were looking.
He's getting ready to go to a concert.
Yeah, I know he is. Me and Cody been talking, dude. He is looking sharp. Hey, everyone. I want to welcome onto the show. Cody, I don't think you've ever even been on our show.
Yeah.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Co-hosted when you've been slacking.
that's why. Okay, it was when I
He
haven't
was the
been
one
here.
with the high ratings.
That's
Yeah,
right.
the
Most
number
viewers
one
ever.
views.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, Cody's up there tonight. He is supposed to be about to go to a concert, but he's taking some time out of his night to bring up a special gift to you, Toby. And what he is presenting you is on behalf and a lot of hard work from your good friend and former soldier John Kaiser. And what he's given you is a gift from one of the most meaningful, impactful trips you've ever done with VO, and one of the most hardest and impacting times of your life back in September. So back in September, you did Operation Salmon up with John Kaiser, and it was a tough time for your family, and it was you had a lot going on, but it was also the of all the VO, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of VO trips you've done. As you personally told me, it was the most meaningful one and the one you absolutely couldn't miss because it had a personal connection. You can go into that if you want, but it had a very personal connection to you. And this awesome gift is from those guys to thank you for everything that you did and the sacrifice you made.
Find out what it is, man.
Yes, check it out.
I have a cold. That's why I'm getting all like.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll chalk it up to that. Yeah.
Oh man. Man. I don't know if you can see this.
Yes, with all the pictures and a very, very special picture down in the bottom center.
The That's fucking tight, man.
So, our good buddy John made
Man,
this happen.
we're gonna hang that on the wall right here, man.
Yeah, John, you got a big thanks to him. He made that happen, and that whole group that was so close to you because of that trip.
The sorry, we're trying to make the social media wizardry.
Yep.
So, Cody started the organization years ago, and we've been working, and partnering on this for. It's been a while, bro.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah,
but you're right. Like we do a lot of meaningful trips, and we do a lot of things that make a real impact, and it's really neat to be part of that. It's a blessing. It's an unbelievable blessing on our lives. But yeah, this trip was probably the most meaningful trip I've ever been on, and also the hardest trip I've been on because, like going on these trips, we were away from our families. Cody's wife and kids, suffer the vacancy of him being away for 15 days on a mountaintop in northern Canada. My family suffers that vacancy. Brad's family suffers that vacancy. But yeah, no, like Operation Salmon is a special thing because I wear Jake's bracelet every day, like you wear Dave's, and we took his son up there this year. We have our it's almost a impromptu reunion, but we do it every year. We bring in different guys, and this year we were able to bring Jake the Man's son Josh with us, who I took salmon fishing, and got to share with him what his dad and I shared in, and it's real special, and special group of guys, and that's really touching, especially with Tovar's passing. He was hoping we could get him up there, but unfortunately he's not, and it's a blessing for us to be able to do this stuff, and we get far more out of it than other people, and everyone thinks like, oh, you have like a really cool life because you get to do this stuff. And you're right. We do. It comes at a cost to our families, and it comes at a cost to our pocketbooks.
Sure.
But what it's really doing is making deposits in the kingdom, and it's making deposits in the big kingdom.
Amen.
And so, like, this is a great gift. When you said there was someone special coming on, like, I had no idea you actually meant someone special, So,
and not just coming on, but coming in the studio, coming right in there to studio. So yeah,
no, like I was like, oh, dude, I was about to be like, no, not now.
I saw you looking up. I saw your eyes darting up, and Cody was telling me, and I saw you kept looking up, and I think, oh, he must have just walked in the room because I see you looking at him like, what are you doing in here?
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man.
And you're probably thinking like, what are you doing here? Because you're supposed to be at a concert that starts in like a minute.
Yeah, it actually does.
Yeah.
But that's our story of our lives. Things happen hard. Just like Sydney's on this picture. That was a hard decision. That was a hard truth that happened to my family. I had a baggage carousel at the Portland International Airport on a VO trip, and so that's to have that there is just. It adds to it. That's wonderful.
Yeah. But but even with that concert going on right now, I wouldn't be anywhere else besides right here. I mean, this guy's been beside my side all along the way. He admonishes me, he makes me a better father, a better man, and what I see him doing in veterans' lives blows me away and encourages me every freaking day. So,
iron sharpens iron. So
yeah. Awesome, Cody. And it's. You did not balk at you just came across town, brought that over to him, and it really appreciate it. It meant a lot. This picture meant a lot. This gift, what John and his wife Tina put together, and Cody, and you guys both know this. I'm preaching to the choir, right? You guys don't do this for yourselves. You don't do this for any recognition. You're always doing this to give back selflessly. You never expect or go home and stick your bottom lip out thinking, man, I can't believe those guys didn't, say something or do something. You do it completely selfless service. So to get recognized like this, I know is magnified 1,000 times, right? And to have someone go through all the energy and effort to do it. And, not only was it a big, important trip because you had that personal connection, but you also had the personal connection, the loss at home, and what you couldn't be there for your family because you had to make this. And I think that's what makes that even more poignant and more special. And it got to me when I saw when John explained to me that, and I saw the pitch, that bottom picture. It hit me home, right? So, yeah, this is
and it's made by a guy I was in Iraq with.
That's right.
You know, like Aurelio Caceres. Like, I see your work. I recognize your work, Aurelio.
Yeah. So
that's
awesome,
Troy.
Cody.
Hey, I'm honored for you to ask me to help. So thank you, John. Anytime, I'm always here for you guys. Your brothers, love you guys.
Thanks, Cody. You have a
Except
good
tonight
time.
because he's got to go to.
Yeah,
concert.
except for right now.
Go hit that concert, man. Have a good time.
Thank y'all. Love you guys.
Talk to you, man. Love you too. All right, there, man. We've been trying to work this. we have been trying to.
Got me. You sons of guns.
Yeah. It's we want to do it near the end just in case the sinus is kicked up there. I didn't want that at the beginning.
They've been kicking up all night, so
Yeah.
But they're really kicking now.
Yeah.
Hey, John Kaiser, Aurelio Caceres, all you guys, everybody, you, Troy, everyone that was complicit. We would not be successful without y'all. So God bless you and thank you.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll have a special place to put that. You get a lot of things. You have some nice things on the walls, but that one is gonna hold true. That's gonna be one that's never forgotten.
I'll find this. I'll find.
You may have to take it home and show it to Mama first, just before you hang it up.
I'll find a spot for that.
Yeah.
It might end up in MCO. It might be, I might not keep that for myself, but I will keep it for myself. But
yeah, that's
pretty cool, man.
And John made sure it got down here quick, and it was
a little sneaky bastard.
Yeah. He got it there, but yeah, like you said, and just in the chat, right? Everybody on the trip wanted to make sure they got something for you. So, hey, I want to give another big congratulations out. Rob, our unpaid producer, pointed out that we should give a big congratulations to Joe Biden for becoming a grandpa. So
great transition.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, and congratulations all around. And Joe, now is not only running for president, and I think he's old enough to be a great grandpa, to be honest. But he's just found out, him and his son both, surprisingly, that he is now a grandfather of a child in Arkansas, and heir to the Biden fortune.
Well, I mean that's super awesome for such a deserving scumbag. Not Joe.
Not Joe.
I'm talking about his son.
Talking
about his son.
Anyone who dates your dead brother's
banging his
right, your dead brother's wife, right?
Yeah.
Probably not long after he's passed away. Like, you move in on that. I mean, I think I'm not sure there's a time limit, to be honest. I'm just thinking, like...
Well, I mean, there is, because we witnessed it in one of the greatest Revolutionary War movies, The Patriot.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's Hollywood. But I mean, there's some things that are acceptable. Like, after your good buddy breaks up with a girl, there's a certain point that he's like, dude, it's been a couple years. You can go out with her if you want to go out with her, whatever, right? But
but you have to be able to ask. You have to be able to ask.
Gotta ask, right.
Yeah.
But when your brother passes away and it's his wife, short of like being in your 80s already and like you're the last two and you're kind of lonely and there's like really nothing physical, it's just to have companionship. I think that's kind of the limit. I think that's where you got to be like, hey, it's okay to hook up with my dead brother's wife. I think now is enough time has passed. I think it has to be somewhere along. I'm not sure there's a written rule, but it seems like that's about
McLean's book, Legends of the Fall. I think that's, I could be wrong. It might not be in McLean's book, but Legends of the Fall, you can't be like loving, marrying, and sleeping with, your brother's lady.
No.
And then, but I kind of want to circle back a little bit. And the reason I want to circle back is I had a thing going before you guys, pulled that little trickeries on me. with all this discussion and all this coverage and all of this irrelevancy, and when I say irrelevancy is it because in the big scheme of things, like it's irrelevant. Like facts don't matter. This is just grandstanding, and it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on, and it doesn't matter what side of the fence I'm on. It's like this whole circus is just grandstanding. It's meaningless. Like there's no judicial action that's going to come out of this because like there's nothing to come out of it. This is just trying to play a political game, and it's very transparent. It's very transparent. Um, Witnesses get presented that are irrelevant to the case, that don't shed light on the case, and when they say this is the actual person that we really need to talk to, that person, like debunks the whole thing and says, like no, straight up, the guy said this. All this is a huge distraction. There was a Democratic presidential debate the other night. Just the other night.
Last night.
No one knows about it.
Yeah.
So, like, while you're playing this really stupid, irrelevant political game to, kind of grandstand or, maybe like, the members of Congress, specifically the House of Representatives, have to run for office every couple of years. So there's a high demand on incumbency in terms of fundraising, and you have to be in the light. So guys like Schiff and, like Stefanik and, Jordan and, like they have to get all this camera time. And I'm using people from both sides as an example, like to help get reelected. Ocasio-Cortez, that's one of the reasons why she needs so much camera time is because she's got to convince, her supporters that she needs to be reelected. Congress is worried about their own reelections, and they're ignoring the big picture. Well, they're going after Trump to try and make it look like they're making this great stand, this, I'm going to pull my sword out and I'm going to draw a line in the sand. Like, y'all are missing the forest for the trees. While you're out there doing this shenanigans, your own party's eating itself at the core. Mm-hmm. You got 20 people on a stage, like, going after each other like 12-year-olds on a cafeteria line or arguing over the last 2 chocolate milks and whether or not you should divide the chocolate milk amongst the crew. But someone needs to drink the white milk because it's the right thing to do. And you're going to let the dude win. Like, they are handing Trump the election. And like they don't see the forest for the trees.
Well, now you got like Bloomberg jumping in because he doesn't think that any of those candidates are viable, right? And you've got others that are thinking about piping in because they don't think any of them are electable. I don't know why they think they're any more electable or viable because they're diluting. There's so many of them, which we saw was going to happen. They're diluting the process. It didn't happen in 2016 because the 17 that or 16 or so that President Trump ran against, they were all kind of the same, and then there was him. So he wasn't diluted by the rest of them. They diluted each other. They were all career politicians that kind of did this march the same beat. They weren't him that kind of came out of left field. Right now, if Bernie hadn't been Bernie and known who he was, and there's a race to be be more progressive than him, he's diluted now. He's not even that standout like no one else in the Democratic Party like he was in 16. He's got Warren, he's got Kamala Harris, he's got Booker that that are all trying to be more progressive than he is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can go through that list and tell you who's going to make it and who's going to not. Kamala Harris, I don't think is going to make it. Booker, I don't think is going to make it. Like when you when you have to like sell your soul against your party, within your party, that's the very interesting thing about it. But people don't even know that happened. Like I looked at some highlights and I got Tulsi Gabbard coming out pretty high on it.
She was attacked quite a bit for not being a leading candidate, which makes me wonder what
Yeah.
their polls are telling him.
Well, it's because she's
Because
a leading candidate.
right,
You
because
know, she got
Buttigieg,
called an assadist,
right,
by a fellow veteran, which I thought was cute. You know, like because she actually like within her role in Congress, like talked to a foreign leader that we were engaged in diplomacy with and combat with. Like
right.
that's crazy. That makes her, you know, compassionate, I guess, towards fascism. I don't know. The no, it's like super funny. Like all this effort put on this clown show, the circus, all this other stuff, and they're biting themselves in the hand, in the foot, chewing their own noses off, and like this is exactly why. This is exactly why.
Well,
And
I was talking to somebody last night about this while we were hunting the other day. Actually, we are driving back. You know, my good buddy Ron. They're doing this. The Democrats are doing this to themselves. They have been so non-transparent. The secret in the skiff meetings, the this, the that, not letting Republicans ask questions. They are in the American public's eye, ripping their own case apart because they're making the American public realize it's so skewed that they're not even considering it real, right? Yeah. So you know, when you're having these secret meetings and you won't let people in and you won't let Republicans of the other, I mean, if you say you have to have if you want true bipartisanship in any event, it better be in an impeachment because it's the end, it's the ultimate like thing you're doing. The form of punishment is an impeachment on a duly elected president. So you better have both sides that are all walking, you know, pretty much in agreement. They're putting their parties aside. But when you have stuff like putting different rules on Republicans, not allowing them to do stuff, and doing all this other mess, it's just the American people are looking like it's a farce, right? It's not even pulling ratings. And then you throw on the FBI IG report that's going to now come out December 9th. They're saying December 9th is the day that Horowitz's reports were going to come out, and it's already parts are being leaked out already tonight,
which is frustrating.
That's going to get that's going to make the American people, they're going to see that and go, guess what? They were after him in 16. They did try to set him up in 16. All this kind of stuff. And then right after that is going to be the other report that the I forget the other guy, the Attorney General out of Connecticut that Barr has got doing the other report, looking into how things were handled. That report will be coming out not too long after. This whole process, and when you have 5 or 6 days of hearings and not one witness can name one single impeachable offense, then you should pretty much stop. There's no reason to go forward. The only reason you're going to go forward is because you're driven by politics. The American people aren't that dumb. They get it. They realize what it is. The people that vote, the people that make the difference, which are the independents, they are paying attention to what's going on. And whether they like President Trump or not, they're going to look and go, this guy's not getting a fair shake. Like, this is all, I mean, they're making stuff up. They cannot, there's no one that can give one a solid, they're going to vote that way.
The, what partially concerns me, though, is, you know, granted, I took some political science in post-secondary education. And so, like, my mind kind of works and thinks politically, but this doesn't meet a layman's, which I'm a layman, smell test. Like when you go through the whole Mueller thing, right? You spend millions of dollars and you interview all kinds of people trying to find information and dirt and collusion and all that stuff. You like spend millions, 30 plus million or whatever it is, to do that over 18 months, I think it was. You know, you spend all this time trying to do that, and you come up with nothing. And then all of a sudden, you're like, okay, like we're going to move the goalpost, and we're going to do this. But now, like, well, we're going to start impeachment hearings on this. Where, like, it doesn't even meet the smell test.
Right.
Like, you're going to try and, like, impeach a president over, and you know, like thinking, and of course, and I'm guilty of this, where, you know, I look at someone's reputation, I listen to hearsay, and I'm like, that dude's probably corrupt, So there's probably some corruption going on. But until you see the actual facts,
Right.
it's just conjecture, and it's an assumption. It's a personal feeling. It's a bias. Um, this is so curious because it doesn't pass the common sense test. You don't have any facts. You don't have any evidence. You're clearly, like, the president uses the term witch hunt all
Right.
the time. But like they've never done anything to demonstrate anything other than that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, an East Coast guy, so I'm not all Salem witchy. I'm more of a West Coast guy, so I'm more of a fishing expedition. See what I did there? Yeah,
I saw what you did there. Yeah.
yeah. The it doesn't pass the smell test. Like you don't.
Right.
You are hanging your hat. You're putting your eggs in this basket. You're throwing the spaghetti at the wall, hoping if it. What's your plan when none of it does?
Right.
And honestly, like I said earlier, even if it does, you think you're gonna like pressure this dude down? Like this is the dude that's gone toe to toe with China, North Korea,
Yeah.
Iran, Syria. You can disagree with what he did in Turkey. I'm not entirely understanding or sold on what he did there. But he went toe to toe with a hooker slash porn star that was like trying to, embezzle him.
Right. He went toe to toe with.
He's like, "What do you got? Like, you want to say I grabbed her? I did. You have it on video or audio. You want to say that I did? Like, cool. The bottom line is, in terms of doing my job and doing this is kind of what it is. And until you bring something other than that, you got a guy testifying. This is all about quid pro quo, and all about leverage and power. And it's like, what do you want me to say, sir? What I don't want you to say is I don't want anything. I want you to do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, and he's people testify that's what was said, right?
Yeah,
there's
right.
Nothing else to it. It's like this shouldn't. Why is this even ongoing on another day? But
But it's so curious because like we're going into an election. You got some candidates there, and instead of like giving them the opportunity to like position themselves to be viable candidates, like this is all gonna the credibility of their party.
That's really what it is.
Party
it's credibility
is so compromised.
Right. That's really the right word.
Going into election, like what you really need is like saying like Hillary. Like not everyone liked Hillary, but because that was the representation, people got behind it.
Right.
Like they're not there yet. Like they're so fragmented, and it's so interesting. This whole social justice, not far enough left, not far enough this, not progressive enough. Like they're going to lose the election because they're trying to do something that's irrelevant instead of trying to win the election.
Focusing on the most important thing. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, but they're going to take a break. So I guess we're going to have a nice week and a half or so with no talks, at least no impeachment hearings. I'm sure the 24-hour news channels are not going to shorten themselves on talking about it. They'll just be counting down, predicting when it starts back up. But at least we won't have that going on. So hey, we went a little bit long tonight, Toby, about 1:20. Don't want to keep you too much longer, or our listeners and viewers. I know a few people had to drop, so it's getting late. So I think we'll call it a wrap. What do you think?
Let's wrap it.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for allowing us into your homes and on your monitors and all that stuff this evening, this Thursday night. And it's good to be back. Even though we didn't have a guest, we kind of did. Had a good special guest, and I was excited to have Cody on and really present this. Yeah.
Thank you.
But anyways, yeah. So, and hopefully not too long, I'll be down there seeing my brother from another motherland down there in the Southern studio.
Cody walked in. I was like, "Hold on, man. We're about to have someone special."
You said that. I'm like, he is the someone special. Like, you ain't special.
I love it. You guys got me.
You ain't special. Awesome. Hold on, man. We're going to have some kind of secret special guest on. It wouldn't have to be the guy walking in the office, would it?
Yeah, you guys
That's
all got me. That's
you let
awesome.
you let your blonde hair show through on that one. But
Mm.
all right, I'm jealous. All
Still
right,
got it. It's still there.
hashtag jealous. But
Yeah.
all right, man. Well, I'll let you go. Let everyone else go. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday night here. We will not be back next week. Remember, it is Thanksgiving to give thanks for a lot of
Nope.
things. And, well, huh? Nope,
No,
what?
we won't be here.
Oh, I thought you were like, no, you're not giving thanks. You're like, I ain't giving thanks for nothing.
I give thanks every day.
Yep, I hear you. So we'll be back after that. December 5th, I believe, is the next show, and a couple weeks in December when we'll be wrapping it for the New Year's. But anyways, join us in 2 weeks here on Stu and the Nun, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and we'll have some updates. We got some guests we're working up. Got a lot in the queue, and we'll talk to you all then. And with that, I think we'll bid everyone good night. Toby, what do you say? All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep, thank you. And let me see if I can get my stuff going there. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Stu and the Nun Radio. We hope you enjoyed your time with us because we have enjoyed sharing our time with you. Be sure to check out stewandthenun.com in addition to asking us questions and interacting with us on our Facebook page and Twitter. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Spreaker and Facebook Live. Also, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Warrior Media Solutions, BlueHammer.com, Veteran Outdoors, Graybeard Publishing, and Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Thank you again, and have a good night.